Hello and welcome to today's video, which is going to be my 10 best makeup purchases of the year. I did do this video at the end of last year, and then I also did a version halfway through this year. It was my 10 best purchases of 2020 so far. I will link those two videos if you do want to see those. Some of these were in that video that I did halfway through the year, but some of the ones in that video were replaced. This was kind of hard to pick because I did buy a lot of makeup this year, particularly eyeshadow palettes. I did do a recent palette collection, and I also did my 10 best palettes of the year, and I did a yearly favorites and a year-long makeup empties. So there have been tons of year-end videos. I will link those if you do want to catch up with those. But these are products that I feel like added something to my collection, and they're things that I really have used quite a bit. There are some other things that I bought that I really love, but I just don't feel like I've used them as much as these products. So yeah, I thought this would be fun to share, and let's get into it. It was a little difficult for me not to pick all eyeshadow palettes, but I did pick 4 things that were not eyeshadow palettes and then 6 eyeshadow palettes. Let's start with the non-eyeshadow first. The Catrice highlighter in Champagne Campaign. I know this does not sound very exciting, but I absolutely loved this and I have used it a ton. I did mention this in my yearly favorites video. It is just a champagne highlighter. It's really not that exciting. However, the reason it is that exciting to me is because I feel like I have found a drugstore version of a finishing powder that I like. I usually do use the Hourglass powders, but since I've purchased this, I've hardly used my Hourglass powders. I mean, it is just a subtle champagne highlighter. You could build this up to more of a medium intensity, and I have done that, but I prefer to use this as finishing powder. So what I do is I do my blush, bronzer, and highlight, and then I take some of this and blend it all in together. I did that today, and I've been doing that almost every day with this product. It's only $6 or $7. I bought it on the Catrice website. I kind of had a hard time finding it anywhere else. They don't sell this at Ulta, but it sounds crazy, but this is amazing, and I'm so glad that I bought this. Next up is a blush, and I do feel like my blush collection is a little bit redundant, but there's something about this one that I have wanted to use nonstop since I bought it, and it is by Charlotte Tilbury, and it is the Pillow Talk blush. These are pretty expensive, and I was hesitant to purchase one, but I heard such good things. I did end up getting this at the Sephora VIB sale, and I love it. Now, it's not that unique, but it's a very neutral, slightly mauve color. I mix these two together. I don't know, it's just so flattering. It's so beautiful. It's a very finely milled formula. It doesn't look choppy or muddy or anything like that. And I have really loved this. I really want to get more colors now because yeah, I gotta say, people raved about this formula. Now I know why. I really do love this. And I think it did add something to my collection because it's not a super intense blush. It just looks very natural on the face, and I really enjoy that. I do have a lot of bold blushes, which I do love a bold blush look, but there's just something about this that works very well with pretty much any makeup look and looks a bit more on the natural side. Let's just stick with the Charlotte Tilbury theme, and next up is the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have loved this product since I bought it, I think 4 or 5 months ago, and I have the shade 1, by the way. This is a pretty subtle product. It's not something that really stands out. It's kind of like a light cream beige color, and how I use this is I either mix it in with foundation or I use it as highlighter underneath my foundation or highlighter on top of my foundation. I don't know, there's just something really beautiful about this. I kind of hate when companies use the word filter, but I do kind of think that this adds a really kind of filtered look to the face. It does. Incredibly subtle product, I will say, but I see a huge difference when I use this, and I feel like it's really versatile. Like I said, I could mix it in with foundation. Some people do use this as a primer. I've only tried that once and I did like it, but I'm usually more of like a pore filling primer person. So I will do that and then either put this underneath the foundation or on top. And yeah, this is a beautiful product. And I gotta say, as far as pricing for Charlotte Tilbury, this is actually not that expensive because you do get a full fluid ounce and it's $44. There's a lot of liquid highlighters out there that I was looking because I had finished my one liquid highlighter and I decided to buy this because I was looking at quite a few and they are about half a fluid ounce for $30 to $40. So I gotta say, As far as Charlotte Tilbury, I do feel that this is cost effective as well. This is a pretty unique product in my opinion. Next up, I had to mention the Pat McGrath glosses. I know for sure that I did mention these at that video that I did halfway through the year. I discovered these this year and wow, there's no turning back. These are beautiful. They have an incredible shine to them. They're so smooth and comfortable on the lips. So I got this in a full size, and then I also bought 2 of her mini sets that have 3 mini lip glosses for $25. The full size are $28. There's not even a lot of product in these. It's a pretty expensive product. However, I finished 4 out of the 6 minis that I bought because I just love them that much. It's a pretty unique formula, I must say. Incredibly shiny, one of the most comfortable glosses, but the shine lasts longer throughout the day. And yeah, I really do love this. This color is Bronze Divinity. I've talked about this one a lot. I think I talked about this in my yearly favorites video as well. This is fantastic and I really do love it. I did also buy the Pat McGrath Lip Liners this year, and I was going to include those in the video, but I just don't think I've used them as much to really say they were truly worth it, because I also love the Colourpop lip liners and also the NYX lip liners. So I don't know, I just didn't feel like I got as much use out of those to have really made them worth it, but the glosses, absolutely 100% worth it for me. All right, the next 6 products are all eyeshadow palettes. This was really difficult to pick, but I wanted to pick palettes that I've used a lot. As I mentioned, I bought a lot of palettes this year, and I did do the top palettes of the year video. But these are the ones that I really used a lot, and I do feel like they added something to my collection. First up is this Pat McGrath mini palette. This one is beautiful. This is the one called Sublime. I do also have the Subversive one, which is more colorful, but I just haven't used it as much as this one. And this shade here is what I'm wearing all over the lid, and then I'm wearing this one on the inner corner. I mean, look how much shine there is there, and I did not even wet my brush, which is something I often do with shimmer and metallic shades. But with these, you don't even need to do that. They're so soft. They're not crumbly. I don't know. They're just amazing. They look on the eyes exactly as they do in the pan. This color, I will say, is just kind of blah for me because it's a dark brown and you see shimmer in there, but on the eye, it looks matte. Honestly, I wish they had not even put this in here and just put another one of these metallics. I would have much preferred that. I think this palette is amazing. I've used it a lot. It's a gorgeous formula. Last I checked, these were on clearance at Sephora for half off. Also on the Pat McGrath website, but they were out of stock there. I don't know if she's getting rid of these. I think that would be unfortunate. I mean, maybe she's going to repackage them to have nicer packaging. I'm not sure, but the formula is great, and the price, I mean, you can't beat it, especially if you can get it for 50% off. Next up is also a Pat McGrath palette, and I think this is my favorite Pat McGrath palette that I own. This is the Golden Opulence. I got this for more than 50% off during her summer sale, and I've used this one a ton. The formula on this is beautiful. These mattes are some of the best matte eyeshadows I've ever used, and I love these metallic shades. Very similar to the metallics in this palette where I don't need a wet brush, but they're not her glittery, sparkly special shades, which I actually prefer because these are easier to work with. I mean, the colors in here are not that unique, and she does tend to put gold eyeshadows in almost all of her palettes, but the formula on this one is amazing, and I did use this palette a lot this year. Next up is a much less expensive eyeshadow palette that I have loved, and that is the BH Cosmetics Beautiful in Barcelona. I've talked about this one a lot. All these products really I've talked about a lot this year, but I really did use them a lot. This one I did get a bit later in the year. I think I purchased this in October, but I have used it a lot. I put it in my Using My Eyeshadow Palettes project pan, and I've used it even more than that. I think that the BH formula is one of the best. They're really just getting a lot of traction in the last year, but for the last 3 years, all the palettes that I bought for them were amazing. So this one, beautiful formula. These are so foiled. They don't need a wet brush. The mattes blend like a dream. I've talked about this a lot. I really love this color story. It's a bit sultry and also a bit cool toned, mixed in with some warm tones as well. I feel like I can get a variety of looks, some more neutral, some more colorful. This one is amazing. Next up was my first makeup purchase of 2020, and it is still a favorite, the Colourpop So Jaded palette. I've heard that this has been going in and out of stock on Colourpop. The last I looked, I did find that it was in stock. They may be getting rid of it soon, I'm not sure, but this one is beautiful. Jewel tones combined with neutrals. Very, very good formula. I will say this Colourpop formula, I don't know, the more I've used my other Colourpop palettes, I do feel like the formula on this one may be a little bit better than some of the others. The metallics definitely need a wet brush, I will say that. Otherwise, there is a ton of fallout, but the mattes blend really well, super pigmented, and I just like this color story. I've mentioned in other videos that I don't love huge eyeshadow palettes, but this one I do think was well curated for the size. And a lot of larger palettes tend to often have repeat shades, which this one does not. I think the quality is great. I think it was a really well done theme. It's a great palette, and I've used this a ton this year. All right, the last two palettes are Natasha Denona, and I will say I did get a couple Natasha Denona palettes towards the end of the year that I just don't feel like I've used them enough to really give an opinion, but I will still be doing a video where I rank all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2020. It's a lot, and it's gonna take me a few more weeks to do that video because I did get a couple palettes at the end of the year that I just haven't used enough at this point to give a strong opinion on. However, the Safari palette I have used a lot this year. I have loved this so much. It is a beautiful matte palette. These are more pigmented than other Natasha Denona matte shades, but I really don't have an issue with them. Some of these three colors here, I will say, are maybe a little bit more difficult to blend, but the rest I've had no problems with. And I know that a lot of people really don't like this palette, but a lot of you guys have told me that you love this palette as well. So I know I'm not the only one. It's been 50% off on her website for a very long time. It is one of her most poorly reviewed palettes overall, but a lot of people do love it still. I am one of those people, and I think the color story is really, really nice in here. I like these kind of earthy tones. I think it's beautiful. I really, really am glad that I bought this one because I've used this one quite a bit. Last up, also from Natasha Denona, I had to pick this palette, the green and brown palette, because this is something I have desired for so many years. I never thought that I would shell out the cash for it. I did. I bought the bundle of this one and the purple and blue palette. I did rank all of my Natasha Denona palettes. I'll link that if you want to see that. I don't think that the purple and blue is as good as this one. Just my opinion, of course. Also, I feel like these are more neutral, and I can also get more use out of it. And also green. If I had to pick a favorite colorful eyeshadow, it probably would be green, honestly. And I think the formula on this is particularly special. The metallics, I don't need a wet brush. Some Natasha Denona metallic shades are crumble city without a wet brush. These are not. These are incredibly smooth, very easy to work with. The mattes are also, you know, very easy to blend. Although I will say all of her mattes are very, very consistent, except the Safari palette. They are a bit more rich in pigment, but the rest of the mattes I think are pretty consistent through her palettes. The shimmers in here are beautiful and smooth and hardly any fallout, which, you know, some of her other palettes do have a bit of a fallout problem in my opinion. This is a crazy expensive palette, and I know that it was, I think it was 50% off if you bought the other 28 pan for Black Friday. And I think she still has the bundle with this one and the purple and blue. But like I said, I much prefer this one to the purple and blue, and I do think that the formula is a bit better on this one. Alrighty, that is it for this video. These are my top 10 makeup purchases of the year. Please let us know what your top purchases are. I do feel like these are things that I've used a lot and definitely gotten more use out of than some of the other things that I have bought in the last year. But yeah, very excited to continue to use these products on my low buy that I am embarking on. I really want to get to know my collection that I have. If you do want to see my other year-end videos, I will link those. And also if you want to see last year's version of this video, I will link that as well. That is it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.